Hi, my name is Chase Stansel. I'm 34 years old, currently working with Camp Blodgett as a family liaison, as a camper, as a junior counselor, as a mentor, as a board member, a board president, and now kind of a part of the year-round staff. With the Sunday dinner group, you get to be a part of what's happening at Camp Blodgett. So every time a sale of a house happens, then 10% of that gets donated to making sure that campers have an awesome experience out here, and which is invaluable, and it actually has a number. When I started attending Camp Blodgett, like I said, I was 12, and I was pretty shy, which for most people is a little bit of a surprise because there's nothing about me that's shy now in the front of a crowd. And what they did was they created this big radio out of paper because I was afraid to sing in front of people, and they allowed me to stand behind it. So I stood behind the paper and they pretended to change the dials, and I was just the music. And that was the first time that I performed anywhere, and now I've gotten to perform all over the world, really. Been a part of singing competitions on television and all of that, but this was a space where I really discovered the performer side of who I am. Camp Blodgett has allowed me to really to discover my strengths, and has given me a place to practice with those strengths and utilize them to be impactful in the lives of people around me. And so now I'm a lead pastor of a local congregation in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and all of those strengths that I've practiced with here, I'm putting into practice there. I think the legacy of Camp Blodgett is of self-discovery. Regardless of where families may fall in a socioeconomic line, all of us share a busyness of the city. We share school life and work life and extracurricular life, which in many ways creates a rhythm that means that we don't really have to think very much about who we are and think very much about what we're doing. Kids are vulnerable and have to ask themselves questions. They are, for the first time, many are exposed to a high ropes course or a rock climbing wall, and they're 40 feet in the air, and while they're harnessed in and they've got on helmets, they're dealing with fears that they don't get to deal with when they're playing video games on the couch or just driving on the highway. You deal with being thrust into an environment that's unfamiliar to them, and make friends. The reality is I've got friends that I've been friends with at camp since I was a teenager, and some of those friendships last a lifetime. And it's because you have this shared space of vulnerability where everyone's asking themselves questions that they never really get to ask themselves, and discovering parts of themselves that they just would never be uncovered if we were just at home. But for a person like me, who was raised in the inner city and not able to afford some of the more expensive camps in West Michigan, being able to have a place like Camp Blodgett and to have an experience like Camp Blodgett undoubtedly transformed my life and my understanding of who I am. And so any opportunity that we have to really invest into transformation of kids' lives and having catalytic experiences in their lives, we should. So I appreciate the fact that this even exists, to be able to give 10% of these home sales to allowing campers to have great experiences here.